Yeah.
Bro code, we in new modes, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. We in that mode, you know if we got a problem, we pull up in that jail. Fed for all of my bros, collective like the colors in the rainbow. All of that talking you did on the net, we know that you only did it for a post. If I pull up then I get in the tag, I need me like 500K for a show, or maybe more. And I got all of the stars in the ceiling cause we in a row. Yeah, just for the bros, brothers forever, so you know we got each other back. We aiming for gold, sticking together, careless about the weather, we never slack. Gotta stick to the code. Bro code, we in new modes, and we do it better sticking together. Won't bend, won't fold. No, I got your back through whatever weather, rain, sleet, or snow. Making profit while we get to the cheddar. They know we own. Take off, we gone. Diamonds two-tone. This is our throne.
We back in here. We back in the studio once again. One more time. It's your boys from Bro. Yep. And hey, we got a really interesting and controversial topic today, right?
Very.
So this one is kind of like everywhere in the media right now. It's all in front of us. It's on TV. It's in the news. It's all over the place, right? So we finally said, hey, we gotta try to address this, right?
Talking about Donald Trump?
No, it ain't gonna be Donald Trump.
Okay. Not this time.
And of course, this is gonna be from our perspective, right?
Your perspective.
And it's gonna be as respectful. We always try to be respectful.
With facts.
Yeah, with facts, right?
But we keep it real on Bro.
And stats. Correct, right. So this topic right here is gonna be transgender in our society today. Right? And how the Bro Code family feels about that topic, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let me do a little defining of a couple of things before we start, right? All right, so when dealing with the transgender and all these different things, right? So sex, right? So let's make sure everybody knows that sex, when we talk about sex, is basically what you're born as, right? Mm-hmm. It's only two options, male or female, right? Mm-hmm. And then we want to go into gender, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where we have a lot of question marks, right? Gender is kind of what you feel like, right? Do I feel like a man? Do I feel like a woman? Do I feel like both, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different, options out there right now.
And there's actually a terminology for that. Is that gender dysphoria or something like that? Where you are sex, but you feel like you're something else? There's a term for it.
There is a term for it.
Gender identification, yeah.
So a couple of stats first, right? So there was a study done in the U.S. And there's this is only an estimate because it can't be accurate, but they're saying there's about 1.6 million transgender in the United States, right?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot, and that's the ones that we know about, right? Wow. So I would assume that the number is higher than that, right? This is a statistic from 2022, right? And this is the ones that we, that have been recorded or people know about.
But to be honest, 2 would be a lot.
Like the number 2?
The number 2 would be a lot if you think about it. 1.6 million, 2 would be a lot.
Why do you think 2 is a lot?
Transgender, because we're talking about somebody changing their identity.
Yeah.
So if one person doesn't, that's 1 too many.
Okay. All right. So, all right. I mean, that's it's like I said, everybody have their opinion, and 2 is too many. 1 is too many, right? All right. So there was another study that was done in the UK about 10 years ago, right? There's this actual group that's in the UK called Gender Identity Development Service, right? And about 10 years ago, there was only about 250 referrals to this group, and basically what the group does is help people to identify what they identify as, right? Mm-hmm. They're young, they're confused, and they're trying to figure out themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And be able to move forward, right? Mm-hmm. Fast forward to 2020, that number went up dramatically, went up to 2,500, right? And the very next year, that number actually doubled, right? So we can imagine
5,000?
5,000. Right? Mm-hmm. So we can only imagine, these are the people that are coming forward and asking for help, right? So there's probably a lot of people out there that they're still confused and they're trying to battle it themselves, right? So, but the thing is that, so in this particular topic, we want to try to figure out, how does bro code really feel about transgender and the whole situation?
So me personally, like, I don't really care about what somebody's choice is. That's just me personally. Like, if you choose, to identify as a woman, or you choose to identify as a man, that's cool, as long as it doesn't impact me. My problem comes in when it's kind of being force-fed to me, like, accept these people, accept these people, accept these people. Only because, as a black person, I'm not accepted in America. I'm tolerated, but I'm not accepted. So why can't the same standard be applied to them? Why can't they be tolerated instead of accepted? You know what I mean? If we're gonna accept people for who they are, skin color, creed, all that good stuff, why can't it be all inclusive and not selectively inclusive? You know what I mean? If we're gonna do it that way.
Gotcha.
So, again, like, I think, living in America, in this world, we have the option to choose, whatever we want to choose. But because that's our choice, doesn't mean the next person has to necessarily agree with it. Right. Or be interested in it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said something about, forcing it upon us and stuff like that. And it kind of brings us to, the biggest factor in there is like, being forced, but kids see these things, right? And a lot of this gender confusion comes when people are younger, right? And so that's when you're more, I guess, how you want to say it, you're manipulable, right? Because you're younger age, you're trying to find yourself and stuff like that. More impressionable, right?
Yeah.
So, can somebody give me their take on,
I
go
think,
ahead.
yeah, I think it's a huge gray area, and I heard what you said, Coop. And you started out, you saying like you don't care either way, to each his own. But we don't want it forced on us, and then I agree with you on that.
Right.
But where I feel like it becomes a gray area at is, when we say, hey, to each his own, but don't force it on me. So the issue that I have is you have transgender, right? So you have a person who let's say he's a guy, he was born a boy. Right? But I'm a teacher, he's in my class, and he wants to identify himself as a girl. So now I'm forced to, because of these pronouns now, I know he's a boy, he's registered as a boy, but now I'm forced to identify him as a girl. To me, that's kind of hard. That's the part where I say, yeah, I do, I'm like Coop, I stand on to each his own. Do what you want to do. That's your business. It has nothing to do with me. But then indirectly, it does have something to do with me because now I'm forced to identify this person as something that
right.
is not.
Because if you turn around and don't, then it's going to be a problem on you. You're a bad guy. Like, oh man, you're against everybody because I know it's a boy, but I want to identify, hey, you're a boy. Right. You're not a girl. I don't want to call you Samantha.
Right.
So I guess I'm a little slow because I wasn't, I guess, hip to the whole pronoun situation that people have been placing on like social media and stuff
Email,
like that.
You get emails now and they say,
right. So I thought it was one of my coworkers who, is always, joking and laughing and stuff. We always cutting up. I noticed he had it on his thing. And I noticed it was up there for a while and I never asked him about it until one day I finally said, why do you have, and, he explained it. And I was like,
what did he say?
Just basically, saying like, I'm a man, I was born a man, I identify as a man, these are my pronouns. And I'm like,
why you got to tell me that?
Right, because again, I was lost. I didn't know that was a thing. Like people were having to do that. And my first thought was, well, that's a lot. Like, why do we have to let somebody know what we identify? I'm a guy. Like
James Cooper, right?
Right, I identify as a man. I'm a man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then, as I started to see it more and more, I started to realize and understand, like, oh, okay, this is why. Because you have men who are born as men who identify as women, and their pronouns might be she, her, or them, they.
Right.
For the non-binary ones.
Yeah, but they.
So that's a whole like.
That's confusing itself. They is a bunch of people, not one.
Because even if you call them she or her, they might not respond because they don't identify as she or her. They might identify as. So it's like you. It's like a whole research situation that you have to do to understand to be able to respectfully identify somebody.
Right.
You know, and you know, some people they just, you know, they're not willing to do that. They're just you a boy. I saw you as a boy.
Yeah.
That's what you finna be, a boy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And same thing for girls and women. You know.
Yeah.
So it is a bit daunting to be able to do that.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. You think about it, you know, we all travel. We've all been to different countries and everything like that. And, you know, I think one of the things we know when we go to a different country, we have to kind of respect those countries' cultures and everything like that. You know, just be respectful to their way of life and how they do things and everything like that. Now you got the United States with this transgender, and I don't know if it's in other countries. I'm sure
it's definitely in other countries.
Yeah, it's you know, but now it's like we're growing up. Younger generations are coming up. And we're having to teach them, you know, stuff that we don't even know about. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's like a totally different ecosystem now. Right. You know what I mean? Because first you had male, female, you had animals and everything like that. Now you got the LGBT community, and it's like, it's just so much to teach the younger generation. So me as a parent of younger kids, that's another issue that I have. It's like, how do I teach my young boys, you know, like how to, you know what I'm saying? Like be respectful. It's not right. It's not in the Bible, but it's accepting. It's a lot, you know, and it's not, you know, like I said, to each his own, but it makes it hard.
Right. Yeah.
Me personally, man, I feel like all this it start with a parent. I feel like it started with a parent. It's science to this. You know what I'm saying? Like when these kids in your house, and that's why I'm gonna look in the camera and say this. Look in the camera and say this.
Uh-oh.
That's why I have a problem when a lot of single moms, when you allow your son to walk around with your shoes on, you know, you put on your makeup and you think that's cute because little Johnny, you know, he don't put on a little blush, and you think that's cute right then, okay? But what you need to understand is that's something you need to correct at that point. Because he putting his blush on, he looking in the mirror, and then he said, "I'm just as pretty as mommy." Okay, but you need to correct that and say, "No, okay, men don't do that." You know what I'm saying? But then you got him walking around with your shoes on, and you think that's cute until you get a certain age and feel like, okay, those shoes are comfortable. Okay, so now I feel like, you know, I look good in these shoes, so I'm gonna defy the odds, and I'm gonna be able to put these shoes on every day. So now the fact that I'm putting these shoes on every day. Yeah, I was born a boy or a man, but again, still, I like the way I feel when I was putting my mommy blush on and putting these shoes on. So guess what? Now, I'm saying society has made it so easy for them to say, listen, if I want to be a woman, you need to address me as a woman, regardless if I got a beard, regardless if I cut it all off, regardless, none of that. I'm saying, regardless of any of that, you know, you have to be able to, you know what I'm saying, pinpoint all these signs you see, because you can't say you don't see them. Mm-hmm. When you see these signs, you're saying you need to correct them then.
So let's talk about that. And that's a good point, right? So as parents, you be in tune to your kid. You see him walking around, shaking his hips or whatever. That's not normal. What do? You correct it, right? You correct. Don't do that. Don't do that. Orlando, don't be walking around like that with no high heels. Don't do that. Right? No, I'm just saying. Okay, my bad, not Orlando. But
Go ahead.
So you correct it, right?
Right.
But we know as kids, right? We're gonna do what we want to do, right? So you may nip it in the bud right then, but you're talking about this transgender effect. So if that child really identifies or feels that he's a girl, he's going to do it, but he's going to do it behind your back. Right, he's going to do it behind mommy's back. And now he's undercover, right? Mm-hmm. And then he grows up, and now, okay, he has the voice, the freedom to do what he wants to do. Now he's full-fledged, right? You did your job as a parent, you know, so it's like, it's not like a child goes touch a hot stove. James, don't touch that hot stove. Touch it, it's hot, you're not going to do it anymore, right? Right. It's different. So with that transgender, it's like it forces the kid to go undercover, and then, again, that's where society fails again.
And then now in society, it's on TV, so it's starting to be accepted.
Yeah, right.
You gonna tell him no? He's gonna go to school, and he may see somebody in school that's doing this, that's doing it all out, right? Not having to hide it, right? So that right there is where I figure that a lot of them are gonna start having like mental issues because they're hiding those things, right?
So I used to coach basketball, like the kids at the Y. And we had a kid, young boy, Caucasian, and he had like longer hair, right? And so he came to practice, he always kept it up, right? Like tied up or something. So it was one day he came to practice and somehow it came undone. And one of the other kids, one of the little, African-American kids, made the comment, she won't pass me the ball. So it kind of threw me off for a moment because I'm like, who is she? Like, what are you talking about? She is number, but boys out here. And then he pointed, and I was like, that's not a she, that's a boy. But her hair is long. So that was a moment that I had to, kind of pull him to the side and say, hey, he has longer hair because he has grown his hair and he hasn't gotten a haircut. Not being his parent, but just trying to, I guess, rectify the situation. And so he doesn't look at every boy with long hair like a girl. You know what I'm saying?
So he's his teammate. It must have been fresh to the team. Did he talk to him? Did he act like a girl?
Well, this is the thing. This wasn't like the first encounter. Like we had been together for like a couple of weeks. And so in his mind, I guess with the hair, the hair threw him off.
Because in youth sports, girls and boys play together.
Well, no, this was all boys team. Right. Okay. This was an all boy, right?
But he could have came from a team the previous year where he had girls on his team,
and that's possible.
But, he maybe just based it on his visual.
Right, and that's what it was. Like visually, he saw a girl, even though it was a boy. Right. So in that moment, it was like, no, that's not a girl. It's a boy. Like his hair is this long. He just, he's growing his hair.
So and that goes back to what AC was saying about how like now you got to go home. You got to tell your kids like. Okay, long hair does not mean girl, right? Or wearing the high heels does not necessarily mean this, right? So that brings us to another point that I wanted to make. So what's going on a lot also, not only are the kids confused, right? But then they're confused, but they're adamant that this is what they want, right? And some parents are saying, okay, I'm fine with it, and they're willing to allow their kids to take drugs that could potentially slow down puberty or hormones that can maybe increase, if it's a girl.
Transformation,
the start on that transformation journey, right? So tell me what you feel about that. Like young kids being able to take these drugs that potentially completely change them, and then later on you maybe can't take it back. Right?
So here's my thought on that. Like, kids are kids for a reason. They have parents for a reason because their decision-making skills aren't there, right? So as parents, and I know a lot of parents want to please their kids and be their kids' friend, but sometimes as parents, we have to do those difficult things, right? We have to be adults, and we have to say, that might not be a good decision right now, or let's wait, or let's think about this. Let's weigh the pros and cons. Let's make the kids think about what they're trying to do. Because as a kid, if we go in the store 10 times, that kid gonna pick up candy 10 times. And that's not gonna be good for them, right? Because then the teeth gonna be right, and we gotta go into the dentist and all this stuff, right? So as parents, we have to say, no, you can't get candy this time, you got candy last time. So we have to also take that approach, when dealing with this issue, right? We have to say, what prompted this? We have to do a little bit more digging, a little bit more research so we can have a better understanding of our kids.
I thought it was by law. I thought it was by law that for kids, you had to have your parents' consent at 16 or 17. 18, they can do what they want to do. 16, 17, you got to have your parents' consent. Anything younger than that, you shouldn't be able to do any kind of hormone treatment or anything.
I think to me personally, you call it just me, I would say it should be criminal, right?
Yeah.
I think under 18, right? Until you like grown, there should definitely not be any surgery, right?
Right.
No drugs taken, because I mean, with these drugs, we don't know what the long-term effects of, you know, putting a girl on some kind of hormone therapy at, you know, 15 years old, just so she, or whatever, younger to stop, because they might do it younger to stop their breast from forming. Stuff like that.
Me personally, I would say 21, because I mean, 21, you're an adult, you're grown, you can do what you want to do. But
I mean,
18, you're considered an adult, but you're not really an adult.
But 18, they'll give you a gun and let you go to war.
They will. That's true. They definitely will. But they won't even let you drink until you're 21.
Correct, right? So that's wrong. So if 18 need to be grown for everything, or you need to move it to 21.
Well, so let me say this, because I've been sitting here thinking about this. So basically, it goes back to the parent-kid relationship. Because even though you don't want your kid, say like, I think me personally, like, I want a son better than anything in the world. So it probably would be, huh?
You're too old now.
Yeah, I'm done. It's a wrap now, bro. It's done. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yeah,
but either way, like me basically having a son, then in today's society, I really, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I couldn't imagine my son coming to me and telling me that he wanna basically be gay or be a transgender.
Would you love him any less?
Listen, let me get to that.
Okay,
so
I wanted to ask that too.
The reason why I said that it plays a part with the parent and kid relationship, because now you don't want to put that kid in a situation where he feels like, okay, you know what, my mom or my dad don't accept me for who I am.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say you have to pay attention to those signs, because before you go, you know, pumping all these drugs in the kid, you know, because it could be a phase they're going through. But you only gonna know that's a phase if you had a parent-kid relationship. Okay, if you barely there, you know what I'm saying, or you barely don't see what the kid doing, then all of a sudden the kid comes out the closet and tell you that he gay, and now you mad. I mean, what you mad for? You should have paid attention to all those signs a long time ago. Yes. That way you could have prepared yourself for that.
So if you have the signs, right, how long do you wait to accept it and basically encourage them to be who they are?
So me personally, what I would do if I had a son, I'm saying, that was basically borderline, that couldn't decide what it was, the best way for you to me personally, the best way for you to figure that out is to put him in something manly. Put him in something manly, see how he's gonna react to it.
Well,
listen.
Football.
Then football, it don't necessarily have to be a sport. It can be something that's basically you can do, because trust me, that true self gonna come out.
But you got manly women.
No.
You got women that like manly things.
And I want to make sure we don't confuse homosexuality with transgender.
No.
Two different things.
No, what I'm saying is basically you gotta feel for what that kid, like if I'm trying to put you in a sport that you have to get dirty and then you want to get your hands dirty, that's a sign.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it is, bro. Trust me.
No, because it's some girls.
But we play football. We play together.
But still,
so you get dirty.
So for that, right, that'd be hard, because some dudes, some boys might not like football. Then you turn around, you have a girl that's a girly girl normally, but she like to play football. She go in there and lift weights.
Listen. So let's use that. That's a good example. Okay, so you have some females that's a tomboy. Okay, does that mean they're gay?
No, we're not talking about.
Listen. Does that mean that they're gonna grow up and want a chance to be a man?
No.
Okay, exactly. So, but think about it. But you do see the manly signs, right? Okay, same thing with the boys. You can't sit here and tell me that you don't see these signs. You gotta pay attention to these signs.
Yeah, so you pay attention to the signs, but my question is, at what point as a parent do you accept it and encourage them to?
When you have that sit down talk and you ask them, the first question to be, listen, okay, I've been observing you. I've been watching you do things, okay? Is there anything that you want to tell me? But you have to make it so, listen, feel free to be able to come to me and tell me whatever it is. I'm not going to love you any less, okay? I'm going to accept you for who you are. I just need to know who you are and what I'm dealing with, so when I see you out in the world and society, I can prepare you for that.
So, I mean, I think as parents, I know for me, I've always, like, from jitterbug size, like up until adulthood, I've always, had that open door, whatever, if you want to call it, whatever, they can come talk to me about anything. And I always tell them that. I always tell them I love them. I love you. Hey, if something you need to talk about, I'm always here. It don't matter what time, call me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I've always expressed that to them, even up into adulthood.
It's important.
It is because
kids are shut down.
They will,
Yeah.
and not even that. They'll be going through internal turmoil, and they'll have this internal battle with themselves, regardless of what it is. It may not be identity crisis. It might just be something small, like, man, I'm finna get a bad grade in school, or whatever the case. And I've always expressed that to mine, to like, hey, we can chop it up. Hey, I was a kid once. You know what I'm saying? I'm an adult. I'm your parent, but I was a kid before, so I understand. So I always leave that door open for mine to be able to come and discuss. Whatever we can shoot the breeze starting out, and then we can get serious. So we ain't got to jump straight into it.
Right.
I always operate off of their comfortability. You know what I'm saying? Whatever if they're comfortable with going straight into it, cool. If they want to shoot the breeze and have general conversation, we can do that too.
Right.
But I want them to be able to get to what they're getting to get it out, so that way they can feel better.
Yeah.
They're not stressed. Their mental is good, and they're not worrying about any issues or anything, or how somebody's going to perceive them or whatever.
Right.
So I think as parents we have to leave the door open, and to be able to say, I'm gonna love you the same. I'm not gonna love you any less. I'm not gonna love you any more. And I don't necessarily feel like it's my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they want to tell me, cool. If not, if they don't feel comfortable, I'm willing to wait until they feel comfortable. Because as parents, like you said, you should pay attention to your kids. If you're any type of parent, you pay attention to your kids.
Yeah.
You know what they do, how they do things, what they're not doing. Right. And I mean, we're adults, so we're not slow, dumb, or stupid. So we can put one and one together and get two. You know what I'm saying? So it's a process that we have to allow them to go through to be comfortable, to be able to say this or that.
So it sounds like we as a group, we're accepting, right? But we definitely don't, how like today with society is all out in front of us.
Right.
I don't think we like the part where it's forced upon us, right? Or where it's so blatant, it's like right in front of our kids' eyes, to where they like, oh daddy, oh mommy, like, what's that? Can I try that, right? Well, no, that's, it's acceptable, but it's not the way that we think you should be, right?
Right.
And
I think it's another thing we need to touch on too, and you're right. I think we are accepting of it. We, as parents, we know that. It's a possibility that our kid can come to us and say, hey, I got an alternative lifestyle I want to live. And we have to encourage them to be open to talk to us about it. But I do think that's an opportunity to talk to them about the importance and the severity of when you start dismantling your organs, your God-given organs, you start dismantling that, now you think you got to think family structure. Now you got to think long term. You can make that decision now, but then think about your legacy and what you're giving up, because that's a big thing you're giving up when you change that organ down there. And then now you're not only affecting yourself, but you're affecting your siblings, you're affecting your parents, and everything like that, just your family tree, So I think that's and that's not to discourage them, but at the same time, we have to be adult enough to say, okay, I see the signs. At a certain point, we're going to have this conversation, not even to get spiritual about it, but just the long-term effects of because once you make that chop or whatever that procedure is, it ain't no going back. Right. There's no going back. So it's an important conversation.
And not just that, man. Like, you got to also think about, if you're a man, you're trying to be a woman, regular women have it hard already. So you want to go from basically, the fact of going into something that basically, number one, is you see women have it hard already. So you want to be a woman, but you're not the type of woman that the women are born as, so you're going to even have it even harder.
Well, the thing is that that's why they say that it's it's just in them to be this way because nobody wants to go to anything that's going to make something harder on them. We're not even talking about homosexuality in this show, right? But you know, the same thing in that perspective, right? I already know the stigma. I already know all the problems that homosexuals go through, right? Mm-hmm. Why would I all of a sudden want to do that, right? It's because I can't help it, right? So that's what they are saying. Like, this is how they feel. And so this is how they want to move, and that's how they want to be accepted, right? But what I want to know is from you guys, like, why do we think that all of a sudden these numbers are drastically going up, right? It's every year after year, the number is increasing. Is it just because people are coming out, or why are people so confused? And then why are people going ahead and making that transition, right? Is it because it's now accepted and it's just been where the people, they've been there the whole time, and then now they want to say, hey, we're accepted now, let's do it.
I think that's exactly what it is. I think it's the media and us as a culture, as a country, as a society has accepted it to the point where people don't have to be undercover anymore.
This country, U.S.
You don't have to be undercover anymore.
Yeah.
You know, if you're undercover, you choose to be undercover for whatever reasons. But it's so accepted now in this country where that's why I think these numbers are going up, is because people are not hiding anymore. They're open.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're in our 40s, you know, mid 40s, and you can think back to when we were in school. We can probably count on one hand, you know, the number, and not just transgender. We'll just say
people with alternative
lifestyle. We'll say alternative lifestyle. That number was very small.
Or was it small? It was small because it was hidden.
Yeah, it was like uncovered.
So now, like I was saying earlier, it's being force fed so much to us. It's like, oh, well, you know, 15, 20, 30 people are this way now. Now I can be a part of that number, and I won't have to worry about being, you know, condemned or chastised or, oh, you're crazy, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can feel comfortable being who they feel like they are. So I think, I would definitely agree. Like, the fact that it's so big and such a hot topic in the media and in the world today, like, it just allows people to be more comfortable with saying, this is who I am.
Okay, so now we know they're accepted, right? So now we're past the exception phase, right?
So can I get two stats? Let me get two stats. 1.3 million adults identify as transgender.
Yeah. In the U.S.
No, that's
worldwide.
Well, because I know I had mine, it was like 1.6 in the U.S. alone.
300,000 youth identify as transgender.
Yeah.
Wait. Youth identify as transgender means you've had the procedure, right?
No. It's just you feel that way.
Yeah, you feel that way. Not necessarily having
so you haven't had
actual transition.
So I forgot. It's an SRS. It's basically a sexual reassignment surgery.
Right, the reassignment. Yeah.
Right. So that's once you've gone over. Right. So you can identify, right, but not have gone through anything. Right. You took in no medication, no surgery.
Right. And I think that's dysphoria. Because I read that's dysphoria. Yeah, that's dysphoria. There's no procedure. There's no surgery. That's just in their head. They identify with the opposite sex.
And yes, that was U.S. RICO.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. So that takes us in. So now that we know the acceptance is there, which is fine, right? But let's talk about, like, when we start going over the stuff, like, especially with the youth, sports, right? You know, how do you guys feel about a transgender male, right, that identifies as a woman, competing with women?
So I was just watching a clip a couple of weeks ago about this guy who's a transgender male to female. And he was competing in female sports and was, of course, completely dominating and blowing out the company. It wasn't even close. And that same person, male to female, had been competing in male sports previously and was getting dominated themselves. To me, I don't think that's fair.
Right.
Not because they went from being dominated to you can't take a man and put them in a woman's sport and say this is fair.
Our physiology is completely different.
Right.
The testosterone level, the strength, all of that stuff is going to be elevated.
Right.
Like, there's no way a woman. There may be one.
There's a few.
There may be select.
There's a few.
Now we talking about Sha'Carri now. You know what I'm saying? But there are very few that will be able to hang with a man
in any
and
sport.
run. Yeah, right.
Especially when it's a physical sport like running. Now, if you start saying golf, then I say, you know, we may can drive the ball farther than them, but it's still a different type game, right?
Okay, well, I'm gonna say this. So I saw a clip of probably the most famous transgender currently, Caitlyn Jenner.
Okay.
They weren't playing with men or women; they were playing with men on the golf course. So again,
but he's a man.
Right.
right?
Okay,
My
so-
point exactly. You're male to female transgender, but you're not playing with a bunch of female friends. You're playing with a bunch of male friends on the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, competition-wise, it's gonna be equal.
Okay, so
Right.
let's go to a sport that's being dominated by a trans right now. That I feel that's not equal. So I can't think of the name, but it's a UFC fighter. And she currently holds the belt. And
Amanda Nunes?
I can't think of the name for nothing. But anyway, it was a big controversy about that because
She's
it's a transgender, and you fighting women in the octagon, but you're a man.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? So basically, of course you're gonna hold the championship. Of course you're gonna beat all the competition. You're a man. But I definitely don't feel like if you go into the octagon with a man that you're gonna basically dominate like that.
When did they start accepting it? I was unaware
Well,
of
it's
that.
a big thing because, and it started with the male to female transgender who has been, not that specific guy that I was speaking about a moment ago, but another guy that I saw, and it's an African-American guy, male to female transgender, who has been dominating in track and field.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly where it was. And
Was it a college or something like that, wasn't it?
No, I think it was like a high school. It was like high school level.
Okay.
Like high school level. I didn't look it up, and I apologize. But high school level, like, again, completely dominating, blowing out all the competition, and winning all the medals. And the parents are, of course, in an uproar.
They should be.
Right. And honestly, I would agree with them because it's not fair.
Yeah.
There's no way a female is going to be able to even come close.
Yeah, that's like taking a 17-year-old in basketball and putting him in 12 and under.
Right.
Right.
You already know how that's going to go. They finna be the Michael Jordan of the 12 and under.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's skill-wise, competition-wise, athleticism, it's
not
just
fair.
not going to be
the
there.
crazy part about it is just sitting here thinking about these numbers that y'all just threw out, the 1.3 and the 1.6, okay, millions in the U.S. If you got that many, make their own league. So I'm gonna understand, like, if you make their own league, compete against each other. Right?
Yeah.
So that's
Then-
my thought. Like, if they're going to do that, there has to be a line drawn in the sand and say, okay, this is where you are, this is where you want to be. Okay, now we have to create something that's going to be equal and fair. Mm-hmm. Because it's not going to be equal and fair when you have, because if you think about it, a transgender female to male, how's it going to be fair on the football field if they want to go play wide receiver or running back or quarterback?
But most of the time, you don't really see that in sport. You don't have the women coming to the men's side. You have a man
Going to the women's side.
He a sucker to me, going to play with the girls.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And
Like,
it's not, it doesn't, it creates a situation mentally for the competition that isn't going to be good for them.
So let me ask, so whoever the higher ups in these sports leagues, high school, college, professional, who's making these decisions and why are they making it acceptable? Like, what's making it acceptable for that to even happen?
So let me say this, Coop. So here's the crazy part about it. You know what I'm saying? When you have these sports, because like I can tell you a story. I'm saying when you have these sports like this, one thing you can't do is discriminate. Mm-hmm. that's a rule. It's a lawsuit. I remember when I was coaching Pee Wee football, 12 and under. Okay, I had a squad until this girl came to me and said, "Hey, I want to be on your team." And I'm like, "No, this is a male sport. I have an all-male team. You can't do this." But the president of the league came to me and said, "Hey, bro, if she passed the physical and she paid for the money to pay, she gonna be on your team."
Well, there it is.
And I'm like, "What?" The craziest thing, bro, is the fact that I'm saying, "Okay, I give you a shot." I mean, what's the homie do? Maybe you're a kicker or something. What position you play? Oh, I play quarterback. What? You play who? Nah, listen. Quarterback, that's the most dangerous part of the, nah, I ain't finna put you in a quarterback. The craziest thing though, bro, she was the best quarterback I had on the squad. I put her at, well, I kid you not, bro, she turned the whole season around. It was hilarious. But the fact of the matter, like, the thing about it is, that's why I say, when you pay attention to the signs, because I was like, no, just seeing how she came on, and was so dominant, I just knew I was like, you play another sport. You got what I'm saying? But she played basketball. She's a point guard.
Yeah, but that's okay at a younger ages, right? But as you get older, that's not going to be the same.
But
that's on for the normal. Like, you know what I'm saying? There are going to be always exceptions to the rule.
Right.
But, you know.
You're talking about from a physical standpoint.
I did, but listen, here's the thing though.
From a discrimination standpoint, it still got to stand. 12-year-old or 22.
Yeah,
you can't discriminate.
Yeah, okay, we got to move on.
Let me say this though. Here's the crazy part. When you said, like, when you both of y'all said going back, you know, when we was growing up, how it was not around. If you think about it, bro, this been around for a long time.
Well, not as visible.
No, even visible. Because remember, even growing up, drag queens been around for a long time. Yeah. It's the same thing.
All right.
It's the same thing, bro.
Okay.
Now they just take a step further by getting, so basically, you want to dress like a woman. Now society making it to the point where you don't have to dress like that. Now you can be one.
All right. The next part of this topic is going to be the trans and facilities, right? And when I say facilities, not only restrooms but prisons, right? Things like that. So, what is y'all's quick take on the restroom situation? That's been a big topic several times.
So that's big, man, because, again, you don't know a person's intent, right? Some people might truly feel like they are female, right? Some people might just be playing that role to be able to put themselves in a position to be, we'll say, creepy.
Yeah, I don't want no man in there with my
because you got because if you got a male to female and they're going in the women's facilities and there's kids in there, you don't know if they're pedo or not. You know what I'm saying? You don't know their intentions. So it does create a difficult situation for both sides because, you know, again, you don't want to make somebody feel less than human. You know, even though, you know, as we do, you know, we get made to feel less than human. But you just never know the intent of a person. And then it comes out that that's what they were doing.
Yeah, so we might need to go
next to kids.
So we can either do like their own restrooms, or what we can do is like most places, which will be costly, is to have individual restrooms that are just for everybody to go.
Well, now they got men, women, and family.
Right.
Yeah. So we would say
use the family.
The family one will probably be best, but you know they're gonna go with whichever side.
But then the thing about even with the family bathroom, because I see a lot of people take their kids in there.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
most of the family ones are single though.
Yeah,
like there's no like multiple stalls.
I can't imagine you taking your kid to the family bathroom and then a trans coming in and then they got a whole million about a question that you got to answer. So, I mean, all that plays a part. I mean, I agree they should have their own bathrooms, but, I mean, the thing about it is, to me, is this, you keep on accepting that all this new stuff is coming out. I mean, you can't continue to change society every time somebody decides they want to do something new.
Prisons.
Well, I think
prisons. What
they were created for that fact, like, to kind of smooth. But, you know, and in prisons, apparently, I was watching, again, I always be watching, like, the news and different media stuff. A situation where a transgender male to female was in a women's prison and had impregnated a number of females.
Because he didn't have the surgery.
Right.
So he's still...
And I'm laughing, but it's crazy because...
He still got the venom.
It's too much.
Right. But you are male and identifying as a female, but now you've impregnated a number of prisoners themselves. So now you got to get moved to the male facility.
Yeah, because the only other option would be to put them in solitary, or say, hey, you got to go and have the surgery. We got to chop them off.
Well, I mean, if you're in prison, I mean, I don't want to pay for that. You want to pay for that?
I
pay for enough with my tax dollars.
They already don't have enough space.
You know what I'm saying?
So now you create all these other facilities to accommodate a whole different gender.
I think they should be where if you were born a man, you go to the man prison. If you woman, you go to the woman prison.
You figure out your life while you're in there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, hey man, if you looking too good to the men, still, even though you're a woman that went to a man, but you still look a little soft, that's your problem.
Hey, it may work out for them. If you're a man and you go to prison, but you identify as a female, hey, you know what? You just made your day. Now you can have all the men, all you want.
But some men like that though.
What's that secret society? Tell me.
Let's touch on the dating.
Yeah, that was my next topic. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when dealing with trans and dating, right? Do the fellas? Do y'all believe they need to tell you up front?
1,000% they need to divulge that. Like that is not cool to play with somebody's intelligence.
So like even on a dating app, you think they need to put that on the thing for you
on the map
before you hit that. Which way y'all swipe? I don't know about
I don't know, but whichever way they be swiping, they need to make sure it's identified. And I say that because you never know the mental of a person, right? Mm-hmm. So you connect with one, y'all vibing, y'all talking, chopping it up, blah blah blah, and then they come out with, oh, this is who I am. And you don't know the mental of a person and if they gonna snap or not.
Yeah.
So your life could be in your own hands because you didn't do what you should have done as an adult and as a mature person and say, hey, this is who I am. Do you want to continue? Because some people like that, right? Some people have different desires and likes, and that's cool. We respect everybody's desires and likes, but give them the choice and the opportunity to say, all right, let's go.
So now when meeting people, do you think it should be, is it proper etiquette to? I mean, some of the transgender they look nice. They nice looking.
Yes.
Right. So is it okay for a man to ask he's going out on the first date or he's just talking or whatever? It's like, is it okay to ask?
First of all,
that question?
I mean, I think that you can say anything respectfully, right?
Right.
So if you're out on a date and you're sitting across.
How would you ask me? Yeah.
You're sitting across, and I'm like, you know what? I've been sitting here. I'm vibing with you, having a good time.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I cannot stop looking at your Adam's apples. Like, so
you think I'm a man?
I mean, you tell me. I don't know. I just.
I can't believe you asked me nothing like that.
Why not?
You can't ask me that.
No.
I can't help but know this is your Adam's apple. I didn't ask you anything. I didn't ask.
So the fact that you even see an Adam's apple, that might answer your own question.
No.
That might.
No.
Wait, what you got to say?
No.
What's up?
Y'all done woke me up. Listen. First of all, we ain't finna get on no date. Okay, you talking about on a date? No, bro, we ain't gonna make it that far. First of all, I'm asking you out the rip.
No.
Okay, bro, listen. FaceTime me, call me. I'm listening to your voice, bro. Listen. Some women have manly voices.
So you tell me that's a part of your date,
bro? Listen.
You say, hey,
listen to me, bro. Listen,
Miss Ma'am.
Listen,
are you really,
Miss Ma'am? Bro, listen to me.
Are you really a ma'am?
Boy, listen.
Is that what you say now?
This is my thing. Okay, if we ain't going on no date, what I had to lose? By asking you that question. That's money I don't save. Yeah. Okay, that's embarrassment I don't save. That's from both parts. Right. Because I'm not gonna get you out in the city. I'm vibing with you, and then I find, bro, listen, I will go crazy.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Okay,
hold. When did you put that into your questioning repertoire?
Bro, listen.
I'm just asking when. No, when.
If it's suspect. If you suspect, bro, and I'm paying attention to your pictures and everything, bro, some of them, the way they post pose or whatever, you can tell, bro. So listen, that's why I say you listen.
So why
just
not
because she
even
look, listen,
don't even go that way.
You
then.
disrespectful. You disrespectful,
no,
dude.
no,
man.
bro.
That's
Listen,
disrespect.
call me what you want to call me, but listen, bro. Here's my thing. In today's society, you can't even go by the Adam's apple. They get that shaved off.
I don't have no Adam's apple, so that don't even count.
I was about to say.
So I'm saying you can't even go by that, okay? Bro, listen,
anyway.
you have to pay attention. I'm saying you're a man. You know what men do, but you know manly features.
Right.
So you have to pay attention to that stuff, bro.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So let me ask. So still answer the question. When did you? Is that in your dating repertoire? Like, if you meet a girl, if you out or meet up, or you just talking on the phone, like, how do you throw that into the conversation? Say, hey, you a man?
Well, me personally, I won't say it's a part of my repertoire.
Yeah, right.
And honestly, if I even feel like one of them is an individual is suspicious, I'm just gonna go and move on.
Right,
exactly.
I'm gonna swipe left. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, and, I'm gonna keep both of us out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you ask them, their comfort level of divulging that information to you may not be there.
Yeah.
To say, hey, yes, I am.
Gotcha.
So, I think that keeps everybody out of a situation.
Yeah.
Nobody going to jail or even prison.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, again, I've seen, and I forgot what the number was, but I know a few months back, there was at least a couple of consecutive months where there were about, I want to say 3, maybe 4 deaths of transgenders because they did not divulge that information.
You can't play like that.
And the guys that they was playing with, they wasn't trying to play either.
Nah.
And so they
Ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah. And then we seen the movie
Secret Society.
Secret Society.
1 and 2.
It's not a game.
It's 2.
it's
Part 2, she had the surgery.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I think it's about time for our, our Ask Bro code, right?
Yep.
So we got some questions in here. We're gonna do the best.
Man, let me get one, man. Let me read the first one.
I'm just mixing them up, man. I'm mixing them up. There you go.
Okay.
Ahead,
You gonna let me do the first one?
Go ahead, man.
All right.
I was just mixing.
All right. Put these reading skills to the test today. Oh, here you go. Could you be in an open marriage or open relationship? Explain your answer. The adult person in me wants to say no, because I know everybody's response won't be the same. Everybody's maturity level won't be the same. And then that just opens the door for a whole nother situation, right?
What's your answer?
No, I'm gonna give you 2 answers.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the adult answer. Now I'm gonna give you the immature answer. The immature person in me is like, yeah, we sure can. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't. No, honestly though, I don't think that works because somebody's gonna get hurt. Somebody's not going to agree with that at some point because one person is always going to feel left out, right? So if you're in that situation, just like in a, 3-person adult activity situation, right? We'll say, somebody's going to get more attention than the other person, right? So somebody's going to feel some type of way and be left out, right? So that's not going to sit well with them. Yeah. And then especially if it's, your, mate, and they're going to have some feelings and it's going to lead to a conversation and probably a fight, right? So, that's something that you have to take into consideration because the results may not be what you want them to be.
I know for me personally, skip over me?
I ain't know what's going in order, man. Ain't no way in no order, man. He been quiet. He been kind of quiet.
For me personally,
get a talk.
Monogamy is very important. Monogamy. It's like, if you're in a serious relationship, you want that monogamy, you want that oneness. If you're just dating and you're exploring, you know what? It may not be a bad idea to say, hey, we can kick it, but let's just be open, and explore. But when it comes to a serious relationship, I think it's nothing like monogamy and just having that oneness with, between 2 people.
What you think, O? Let me get it.
Me personally, I think when it comes to stuff like that, it comes with a lot of rules.
True.
So
Mostly from women.
I think that depends on the type of person you are and your maturity level. Cause I actually have friends that do that. That's in open relationships, and everybody's cool, everybody's happy. So and it's a whole like group of them. They have I forgot the name of the little group or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. So you know I did dab a little bit, you know, doing my research to see was it something that was. I'm saying it's pretty interesting, but it comes with a lot of rules. So I really feel like could I be in something like that? I thought about it. You know, but honestly, you know what I'm saying, because we keep it real on bro code.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I thought about it. I thought, you know what? If you look at it, I was looking at the pros and cons to it. Okay, some of the pros to it. Okay, you ain't got to worry about cheating. Okay, you ain't got to worry about basically never having no attention. You ain't got to worry about basically being lonely. Because basically, if you in a relationship with this lady and then you open to be in a relationship with somebody else, you always got somebody to occupy your time. But I think what a problem comes in at, like you said, Coop, suppose you get to the point where you start feeling one more than the other one, and then you see you want to go to that monogamy, you know, type thing. Now, that's when the rules come in, because now the rules are like, okay, remember what you signed up for. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the things that kind of put me in a situation I was like, because if my feelings get deep into it with this one person, I might not be want to call you. I might not be feeling you like that. You know what I'm saying? So now you mad, but me and you started it, but now you introduced me to somebody, or I've met somebody else that's in a little group or, you know, open like that, and I'm feeling her more, that I want to just basically not show you no attention. So like I said, it's all about basically the rules. So me personally, I feel like I'm saying that like you said, Coop, the younger me, I'd be like, yeah, let's roll, let's run it.
Right.
But the older I get, it's more so of basically that's too many women to juggle. That's too much to do.
That's human nature, man. Like we gravitate to the person that gives us that feeling that we look for, that we need, that we desire. And it's never gonna be a win-win for everybody.
No, it never is. And then you also have to keep in mind too, like you could be feeling that one person that you're with, you know, it's open, but then you know what, that one person that you're truly feeling, she's interested in somebody else, another male. Now it's like you got to look at that. Like, can you accept that?
Right.
And I know for me, it's like I like mine.
Look,
right.
Yeah, I like mine.
Young me, old me, whatever me, you can't drink out my cup.
Right.
This my cup.
What does that mean, man?
I feel you. That's his cup.
Hey, that's my cup. This my cup. I drink out that cup. You can't have nothing. I don't even want you to waterfall in my cup. You can't hold it and do no. This my cup. I'm
with you on that, Rico.
No, sir. Even if we was dating, right? No, I know.
Right.
Okay, if I'm with you, you better not be with nobody else. I ain't sharing. This ain't.
But and then you got to think about the STDs out there.
Even if it was no STDs, man, you can't be dipping in what I'm dipping in.
Right.
None of that. Ain't no sharing.
I ain't sharing my cheese sauce with you.
Ain't no sharing.
All right, we're gonna go on to the next one.
Yeah,
Got a little time.
Gotta do it quick.
All right, what is the one thing that you guys wish women would do more often?
Ooh.
What is the one thing you wish women would do more often?
Expressive communication. Don't tell me something and I have to guess and try to understand and figure out what you're saying. Tell me what you mean.
I'm gonna say this. I'm looking at this camera when I say it. Okay.
He looking at the camera.
You
live.
got to change your voice too.
Nigga, stop asking for what you can't handle.
That's
okay.
That's
don't
good.
ask for the truth,
right?
And you can't handle it,
right?
No, don't say just be honest, knowing you can't handle the truth.
Right.
If you do that more often, we'll be fine.
Handle what you can handle.
Right.
Ask for what you can handle.
Listen, here's my biggest pet peeve, man. My biggest pet peeve. Okay. Don't try to be sneaky and think that you're the only one that can do that. Okay? Because guess what? Just because you called me out on something, it's gonna be a time I'm gonna find a way to call you back out.
Right.
So the same way I handle it when you call me out, I need you to be able to handle it the same way.
Right.
Period.
Yep. For me, be my number one fan. And when I say that, I'm not saying just praise me all the time, praise me. Criticize me. Tell me where I'm doing wrong. Hey,
respectfully.
babe. Yeah, respectfully. Hey, babe, you know what? You're falling off course. Is there anything going on? You know, what do we need to do? Talk to me. You know, it's like, be my number one fan. That means you're in tune. You're in tune to me, you know? So, yeah.
All gonna steal that one. You skip over. I'm gonna steal that.
Man, it's yours.
It's yours, Rico. It's yours. You know what? Here's the thing, though. I agree with you on that, AC, because at the end of the day, what women have to understand is that basically, just like you want to hear that you beautiful every day, just like you want to hear that you're sexy, just like you want to hear, baby, you know what? It's nobody but you. We want to hear the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, if I'm doing something, you know, give me that praise. You know what I'm saying? Give me that pat on the back. But like one of the things I agree with you mostly is, listen, if you say that you my love, my ride or die, my best friend, okay, that gives you all grounds to be able to criticize me, whether it's negative or positive.
Yeah.
If you can't criticize me negative, positive, and stand your foot on the floor and stand by what you say, regardless if I get mad or not, then you ain't the woman for me.
Exactly. You do it out of love.
Real quick, Coop, you got anything?
Nah, man, I just want to say good show, man. I think we touched on some good points, man. Gave some good information.
Yeah.
Good job, Ricardo.
Good job, Ricardo.
Hey, thank you. All right, we got another one in the books, fellas.
Hey, man. Shouts out to everybody, man. Thank you for joining us for another episode of
Bro.
And remember,
We out.
go on YouTube, subscribe.
And Facebook. We on Facebook too.
That's your boys. Have a good day.
Peace.
Peace.